Rum, gunpowder, and fire. How pirates used alcohol for more than drinking. Out on the open seas, where the air smelled of salt, sweat, and danger, there was one sound every pirate knew by heart. Rum. The sweet burn that warmed frozen nights and fueled endless songs. But here's the truth: the tavern tales forget rum wasn't just a drink. It was a weapon, a medicine, a tool, and sometimes the only thing standing between life and death. Tonight, we sail through history's darker waters to uncover how pirates used alcohol not for celebration, but for survival. Act 1: Liquid Courage and Crude Medicine. It's the year 1717. Somewhere near the Caribbean, the Revenant's gale drifts quietly under a gray dawn. Its crew rough, scarred men and women carry wounds from last night's skirmish. There's no doctor here. No clean instruments, just salt, sweat, and rum. Pirate, gruff, wincing, character 1. Easy Gannet. That burns worse than the cut. Ship's MAT, character 2. Better a burn than rot. Mate, hold still. They didn't know about bacteria or antiseptics, but they knew this rum cleaned wounds better than the filthy water they drank. Distilled spirits killed some of what they couldn't see. Rum was no miracle, but on the deck of a pirate ship, it was as close as they got to medicine. Sometimes it wasn't poured on wounds but into them, to numb the pain before a crude surgery. When a leg had to go, they didn't have chloroform or morphine, just rum. A few deep swigs to dull the senses, then a bite of leather. The rest was up to luck and grit. Pain, infection, fever, rum couldn't stop it all. But it bought them moments of courage, and in pirate life, sometimes that was enough. Act 2: The Rotten Water. One of the ocean's cruelest jokes was water itself. Fresh water went foul fast. The heat, the bacteria, the barrel wood all turned it into a slimy, stinking soup. High rate, spitting. Tastes like bilge. I'd rather drink sea foam. And so they did something clever: they mixed it. Half water, half rum. For pirates and naval crews alike, grog wasn't a luxury. It was hydration insurance. Crew, shouting, character 3. To the devil and the deep blue. Add a squeeze of lime or lemon, and it did something even better: it helped prevent scurvy. Of course, they didn't know why. They just knew citrus made men feel stronger. Rum, water, citrus, a crude chemistry that kept them alive, voyage after voyage. Rum as weapon. But rum wasn't always gentle. It had a darker use as fire. Alcohol burns hot and bright. High-proof rum could ignite when mixed with powder or oil. A bottle of rum could be a bomb if you were mad enough to try it. Pirate, snarling, light it up, lads. Let the sea remember us. Of course, setting fire on a wooden ship was suicide. But pirates lived by spectacle: a little flame, a little terror. That's how they ruled the waves. Rum was both their courage and their curse. Act -4: The Gunpowder Test. Now, here's where legend meets science: the gunpowder test. In a time before hydrometers or standardized measures, sailors had to test the strength of their rum. Why? Because merchants often watered it down to cheat them. Pirate, awed whisper. Aye, she burns clean. That's proof, lads, true rum. If it caught fire, it was proof that the rum was strong, over 57% alcohol by volume. If it didn't, someone had been watering the barrels. That's where the word proof in alcohol comes from. Proof your rum, proof your courage, proof you weren't being cheated. And so, rum and gunpowder became twin symbols of pirate pride. Act 5: Fire, Fear, and Ritual. But for pirates, rum was more than a tool, it was ritual. A bond stronger than iron. They drank to the dead before battles, to the living after, and to the lost between. Sometimes, captains mixed rum with a pinch of gunpowder, lit it, and drank it while still smoking, a terrifying act of defiance. Captain booming, may fire burn through our enemies and not our hearts. It wasn't just theater. It was psychology, dominance, unity, intimidation. Rum became blood, symbolic, shared, sacred. Every ship had its code, every crew its toasts, and rum was always at the center. Act -6: Trade, Power, and Slavery. Yet behind every drop of pirate rum lies a darker truth: the Atlantic rum trade was built on sugar plantations and slave labor. Molasses from the Caribbean, distilled into rum, sold in Europe and America, and used to buy more enslaved Africans. For every pirate who toasted freedom on the open sea, countless others suffered in silence to fill those barrels. Rum, gunpowder, and empire all bound together by greed. Pirates didn't create that system, but they exploited it. Their independence came at a moral price history still wrestles with. Act 7. Cleaning, Craft, and Chemistry. When the storms calmed, rum still served. It cleaned tools, stripped tar from hands, and kept herbs from spoiling. A pirate's version of rubbing alcohol, varnish, and solvent all in one. It was chemistry at sea, crude but effective. Alcohol dissolved resins, sterilized surfaces, even preserved specimens for curious surgeons who wanted to study anatomy after battle. Pirate, laughing. Rum's good for wounds, good for hearts, and good for cleaning a pistol. They weren't wrong. Rum was the multi-tool of the ocean. Act 8. Myths, Madness, and Morale. But rum also had its price. Too much of it and discipline broke, tempers flared. A drunken fight could turn into a mutiny. Captains rationed rum carefully, using it to reward loyalty and control morale. A day's ration was a promise: fight well, live well. Captain, you've earned your share, lad, don't waste it. And yet, many did. For all its power, rum couldn't drum guilt, loneliness, or the ghosts of the sea. It lifted spirits, and sometimes destroyed them. Act 10. The legacy of proof. Centuries later, Navy-strength rum still exists. 57% alcohol, strong enough to ignite gunpowder, a silent echo of that old deck test. Modern distillers boast about proof, spice, and age, but behind every label lies the memory of those early seafarers who turned rum into medicine, myth, and weapon. Rum outlived them all. It became part of culture in songs, stories, and films. But the truth remains, for pirates, rum wasn't about escape. It was about endurance. Act 11. Fire and Memory. Ending scene. Night falls over the empty deck of the Revenant's gale. The last of the rum burns low in a lantern flame. Somewhere in that faint glow, you can almost see them, the ones who fought, bled, and drank their courage. Rum was never their vice. It was their armor, their proof. And though the sea has swallowed their bones, the scent of rum, gunpowder, and fire still lingers, a reminder that survival in any age sometimes takes more than strength. It takes a spark. Final line. This was Rum, Gunpowder, and Fire. How pirates used alcohol for more than drinking. May the wind favor your sails, and may your courage always burn bright.